Good evening. I would like to call the April 8th regularly scheduled board meeting to order and ask that you join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. And now would you please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now I will read our mission statement. The Waterloo Schools community commits to a comprehensive system of education and support to assure that each and every student will graduate prepared for college, career, and citizenship, as evidenced by continuing education, pursuing a career path, and contributing to a community. The next item on our agenda is a public hearing for the East High Auditorium and Pool Replacement Project. In accordance with Section 73A of the Code of Iowa, a public hearing is required if the Board of Education of a school corporation proposes to make public improvements that may exceed $100,000. A public hearing provides an opportunity for any and all interested parties to appear before the board and comment on the proposed project. The district proposes to replace the roofing over the auditorium and pool at East High School. The scope of the project includes removal of the existing roof material down to the existing roof deck and replacing it with new insulation and EPDM membrane over the two sections. A notice of this public hearing regarding the project has been published in the Courier, and I know open this project. If there's anyone that wants to speak on this project, if you can please come to the microphone, state your name and address, and make sure the green light is on. Seeing no one, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
So all those in favor of closing the public hearing, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. The hearing is now closed. The next item on our agenda is a board celebration. Throughout the 2023-2024 school year, we will hear about the many amazing things happening in each of our school buildings. In tonight's presentation, we will hear from Brandy Welch and her team about the amazing things happening at Becker Elementary School.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Brandy Welch.
I'm Amber McGivern.
I'm the principal at Becker Elementary, and today we're super excited just to present to everybody a little bit of the work that we've been doing around family and community engagement. Abby Norgren, our lead teacher, wanted to be here tonight and was unable to make it here, but she has been instrumental in this work as well, so I just want to give her a quick shout out and tell her thank you for all that she does. So the presentation up there is posted, and it actually opens with a little bit of a slideshow of some of our proudest moments from the year. There are some pictures and there was some music, but the music isn't working, so please enjoy the silence and the beautiful pictures. And as the slides play, I could just tell you that these are just some quick, candid moments from a lot of the different things that we have done throughout the year to get kids engaged in Waterloo School's mission, which is really, really finding their passion and learning about the opportunities that they have in the community once they finish their schooling. Also, it's been a huge deal for us to bring as many community partners in as we can to help ensure that students know what they're capable of rather, and what's possible for them as they enter into adulthood and their teen years as well. Okay, I will move forward with the rest of the presentation. When we came in as new leaders, one of the big things we wanted to do is start building trust and really emphasizing the importance of growing together as a school community. And we've been able to do that by just approaching it through first communication about our hopes and dreams, and also kind of hearing from others. Also opening our doors intentionally to the community and also to families. I think after COVID, there was a bit of a slow start to getting people back into the building. So we really wanted to create opportunities to meaningfully engage families and community members in our doors and tell them, like, you are welcome here. Then we said, let's gather, let's get some things going and have people come in. And then we wanted to make sure our students were involved in that process as well. So communication, again, listening to a range of voices, thinking creatively about how we can support those ideas. And when people do offer us support, we like to take advantage of that and take them up on it. And then we have great staff who just enjoy collaborating. With Amber here, I just want to shout her out as well. She's been a really big part of supporting our specialist team, who has put on quite a few events and really organized things to bring into the school. And not only that, they've carried quite a bit of the heavy lifting around some of our PBIS and Leader in Me initiatives this year. And it's a very big deal. And Amber, feel free to chat. No pressure. But, okay, thanks. She says I'm doing fine. Yeah, so again, just doing those events that welcome families back into the building. And then we also established an action team who would take the lead on some of those things too. So monthly they meet and they put together some plans for how we want to engage our families in big events and some small events. We scheduled some meetings with our partners in ed as well. We have touchdowns throughout the year where we meet at some of their sites and just start to learn a little bit about what they're doing and brainstorm how they can help contribute to our school improvement planning. And we really just want to make sure they're a big part of the dreaming process for us. We don't think that there's anything that is too big for us to really try to engage in, so we promote that and we encourage that type of dreaming. And then finally, our kids are amazing. They're really amazing. We have a student lighthouse team that we've been able to get up and running, and they've provided quite a few ideas for how they want to engage with their community, whether it's in the school or out in the greater community. And we listen to their feedback too. If they think something is going to be a great idea, we run with it. And if they're like, we're not sure, then we listen to that as well. So here are just some proud moments from our year that we just like to highlight. And these are the things that you saw in our pictures as well. Here are some examples of ways we've been able to engage our families. And then finally, we just want to close with a big, big thank you to our partners in ed. Starting last year, we started trying to figure out how do we first see who's already involved in the school, and then who do we want to continue to pull in because they have something great to offer our students. And in doing so, we've gotten a really diverse group of community members who just care passionately and deeply about what our kids are doing and what we're trying to do at Becker. And we couldn't do a lot of what we do without them. So we just wanted to make sure we acknowledge them tonight as well. And that is the end of our presentation. Thank you for your time.
Concerning your family engagement, how successful has that been in terms of how many people come to how many events? Is that kind of progressed slowly or fairly quickly, or how's that working?
I think it depends on the event. Overwhelmingly, when we put the students in front and we make them the star of the night, then we have huge turnout. But also when we do things that families really enjoy, we have great turnout as well. So some of the times when we see some of our best turnout would be things like our music concert, which we hold every year. We've also been able to do some work through arts integration and having a visiting teaching artist come in and work with grade levels. So this year we got to take our third graders to Gallagher to perform some fractured fairy tales that they wrote on their own. We had great turnout for that as well. And then our bowling night is another one that's huge. We haven't had that yet, but like we basically shut down Maple Lanes. It's a good time.
Then I also have a question on the visit to Three Pines Farms. What was the purpose of that? Was it the animal engagement or the crafts or the baking, or what was the purpose and how did that go?
The pictures that opened our slideshow from Three Pines Farm was actually our staff's opening day. Our theme this year was growing together, and we had been talking to Three Pines Farm about a way to just kind of get everybody together and really focus on each other and getting to know each other. And sometimes that can be tough to do in those beginning days when we're in our school, because everyone's super fixated on, I've got to get that bulletin board up, I've got to fix those folders and put the labels on that. But we actually spent a little bit of time doing some staff team building out there, and also getting to learn a little bit about our partner and the history of that farm.
Yeah.
What's also come out of that, though, is some opportunities for us to take students out to do some more intentional learning that's aligned with standards.
So you haven't taken students out there yet?
We're actually going to within the next couple weeks,
Okay.
I think. Yep. Oh, Wednesday.
Okay. Thank you. That should be interesting.
Yes.
It seems like you have some great things going on over there, and I would love to come and see. When is your next event that's kind of open to the public that we can join in and see?
I'd say bowling night would be a really great one to come in and just
Okay.
like mix casually with families and get to hear firsthand from them about how they feel about what's going on. But you're welcome anytime. Our doors are open, so please visit.
Seems like you have some great things going on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did I miss the date? What's the date for bowling night? The date for bowling night?
Bowling night. I'm sorry, I don't have my cell phone, but it is in our staff calendar. May I send that to you? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. I didn't bring it up here, but I have it. I can get it to
I
you.
was hearing this good day and everything. I just want to just tell you thank you for the invitation there. I want to say it was the Women's Leadership Conference, which you had a range of different individuals that were showing kids a whole variety of different occupations and that kind of thing. I had a great time with the kids, had a great time with your staff, and so I just want to say thank you for that moment, because it just it was nice. It was nice and humbling, and I just think that overall, you know, you guys definitely put some thought into it, and it was great.
That event, we spent, the specialist team, it was a couple months. We sent out over 40 invites to leaders in the community, women leaders, to come out and showcase either their business or different businesses that had women as leaders. We had 17 respond, so we had 17 people there. I would say by far it was our most successful event that we put on. As Jonathan said, he came out and he told me I can only stay for a little bit, but he stayed the whole time. It was great. The kids loved it. The community loved it. I know I saw it on different Facebook pages that it got out, the word got out, and we were pretty proud of that event. So next year we will make sure everybody can come join us again.
And I would just add something that I've really enjoyed about all of this is being able to tell people every time we create the conditions for our children to show up at their best and as their best selves, they rise to the occasion. So it's just been a joy to see them engage with different people and learn a lot from the different people who we've had in the building. And it's a highlight, definitely a highlight of the job.
Anything else? And I can just echo what Jonathan said. I was also invited and took the opportunity to come out. So I was going to put you on the spot anyway, Amber. But it was an amazing event. It was an amazing event. The students enjoyed it. They had assignments to do. I believe they were sat down and given instructions all together. And then they had their notepads and their pencils and pens, and they had their questions written down before they got to each booth, and then had an opportunity to meet with people in our community, and they were asking questions. I walked behind a few of them, and it was an amazing event, and the students, I believe, enjoyed it, which is the biggest thing. So kudos to you and your team for putting that on, and I look forward to it next year and in the future.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
I just wondered if we could, okay, so the equity committee action team I'm on is the community one, so could we maybe come pick y'all's brain one day and maybe work together a little bit? That would be great. Thank you.
And Ms. Welch, if you want to get those dates to our board secretary,
Yes,
so she can get them on the calendar, we'd appreciate it.
I will do that.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next agenda item is a board celebration of First Tech Challenge and First Robotics Competition. This past year, Waterloo High School students from East and West participated in 3 separate teams across 2 First Robotics programs. FTC First Tech Challenge includes 7247 H2 Lu bots and 7248 robots of Madagascar, and FRC First Robotics Competition includes the team 5837 Unity 4 Tech. Since the start of the robotics season in August, the 22 students participating on the Waterloo High School robotics team have collectively dedicated over 5,000 hours to the program. And we have tonight Mr. Dick Herbin and his team that'll give us a little bit more information. Welcome.
Alrighty.
You're not new to this, so
Yeah, so we've been back every year. We've got a lot of new students this year. We have about a third of the students here tonight. I'm going to have them quick introduce themselves, and then we're going to go out and see those robots go on. So you really don't need to hear any more from me. So the first 3, once you guys get up in line, because they're going to be the ones firing up those robots for us in a minute. So these students, all of them are going to come up, but they're going to give a little bit of information about themselves. And then we'll have more time to talk and that in the hallway. You guys can line up behind me.
Hello, my name is Caden. I am a freshman at West High, and this is my first year on the team.
can make sure
Hello.
there you go. Make sure you step up a little closer to the mic.
Hello, my name is James. I hope you're all having a good day. I'm a sophomore at East, and I've been on first for 2 years.
Hello, my name is Orton. I am a junior at West High School, and I've been doing first for 5 years.
Hi, my name's Lucy. I'm a junior at West High, and I was on a first LEGO League team for 4 years over at Kingsley and Hoover, and this is my first year on this team.
Hi, I'm Noura. I'm a junior at West High School. This is my second year on the robotics team, but I've actually been involved in first since 3rd grade. I'm sure Mrs. Mills can tell you more about my exploits, but yeah, that's me.
Hi. Oh, I'm Dina. I'm a freshman at West High. This is my first year on the team, but I've also been doing I've also been in first programs since 3rd grade.
Hi, I'm Leah. I'm a freshman at East, and I've been in first for 2 years.
Okay.
So we're going to invite you now to the hallway to see our 3 robots, and you guys can ask questions out there. We'll give you some more information while they're running. Any questions are free game. If you see the adults answering, squirt bottle us and say, no, we want to.
Okay, so we'll take about a 10-minute recess from the bench to head out to the hallway to see the students.
stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I bought cheer here.
Okay. 22 students.
Definitely a lot more teens there used to be. More teens for sure. Robo Wolves.
I could play with Lego or robotic stuff every day. So fun. I miss it.
Thank you all for your patience. We'll continue with our board agenda. The next item on our agenda is information from individuals and delegations. This is an opportunity for those who wish to address the school board may do so. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. Ms. Arndorfer will hold up a yellow card when you have 30 seconds remaining and a red card when your time has expired. At that time, I will ask you to conclude your public remarks. Please also keep your comments respectful and constructive. We're all here with the goal of trying to help our students. Please also avoid criticizing the job performance of specific employees of the school district. Personnel matters are confidential and must be handled through proper channels and not in a public forum. Finally, we provide this opportunity for public comments, but it is generally not a back and forth discussion, especially of items not on the agenda. At times, we'll try to help if we can with information before or after the meeting, but we have to proceed with our board meeting agenda items. With that, I invite anyone who wishes to address the board to please come forward and start by stating your name and your home address and make sure the green light is on.
Forrest Dillaboo, 1725 Huntington Road. I came before you earlier to talk about the land purchase that you made up there and referred to an article that was in the paper that stated you received your information about the floodplain from the city engineer's office. I brought this up at the Waterloo City Council meeting. City engineer himself stated he did not give you the information that was in the newspaper. He did not say they would take care of anything, and he did not say it was in the floodplain. If you have any written information, I would highly appreciate that sent to my home so I can view it and make decisions as to why you have the wrong information. Whatever you can do for me there would be appreciated. Pam has my information, and I would also like to thank the member of the board that went out to this property, walked it, looked it over, and probably gave a report or will at some point in time. He allowed me to share some of my conversation, and I highly appreciate that board member doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dillaboo.
Hello, I am Faith Kubik, F-A-Y-T-H-E-K-U-B-I-K. My husband and I reside at 1569 Corrine, C-O-R-R-I-N-E Street in Waterloo. It's on the east side of town. And Rodney wanted me to come as well. First time I've been to a board meeting, and it's been very interesting and very enjoyable. And what was really nice, and it actually goes to what I say, we are against the mega school. And we're against it for several reasons. I think it's important to have smaller schools because they're already, I consider them large already. We grew up in small towns, both of us. And if you get something that's too big, instead of developing creativity and being able to reach out and participate in sports, more people participate in sports, drama. Not everybody is wonderful at academics, but they can excel in sports, they can excel in drama, they can excel in choir, band, all those things. You have one mega school, and that cuts it down. And I think you're also going to find that instead of having the diversity that you're hoping for, you're going to have more cliques. And they're going to be bigger cliques and tighter cliques. So instead of really going out and meeting people of all thoughts and patterns, and you're cutting way back. And so we are against that. What was really great is I happened to sit by the robotics people. And I got so excited when they said it was a combination of West and East. And I thought to myself, now see, that's what needs to be done. Now you're teaching the kids how to get organized, how to go to somebody else and put your communication skills together and work together. Now, when you have one huge school, again, a lot of people really feel left out. And if you don't have where more people can participate and not have like, oh, we're just here, and then sports comes down A, B, C, D. I mean, the person in the D is not going to feel very good about themselves. So I think it's very important that all the school buildings are equally nice to be at. So if a school building is lacking and it's not as nice as another school, well, that school needs to be brought up to par. But I really think we are creating a negative situation instead of a positive. So what you guys are seeing as positive, we are seeing as negative, because you're not going to have, when you're in a smaller area, you want to get out and you meet more of the people. When you're in a bigger thing, you automatically go into a clique. And those cliques are just not healthy to have. Friendships are healthy to have, cliques are not healthy to have. So we're really concerned about this. And like I said, we both grew up in small towns, myself in Minnesota, my husband and the other. And it was interesting that my husband has an excellent mind, but he's dyslexic, so he didn't do well academically. 50 years later, they're still talking about how great he was at football. They went to the state and won. And the things that he has accomplished, because he studies by himself. We've got a library that you wouldn't believe, but he has all that because he was good at something, even though he wasn't good at academics. He actually has a tremendous mind, and the licenses and things that he has are absolutely astonishing. Most people would go, I don't know how he ever did that.
Ms. Cubis, can you wrap your comments up?
I'm
You're at
wrapping
3
it
minutes.
up right now, so I hope you'll take that into consideration. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you. Is there anybody else that would like to address the board this evening? Seeing no others, we'll close that portion of the meeting. The next item on our agenda is the consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of 4 items. Approval of the minutes of the March 25th, 2024 regular and special board meetings, personnel appointments and adjustments, bills due and payable between board meetings, and acceptance of the SLFRF safety grant. Excuse me, it consists of 5 agenda items. Set date of second public hearing for the 2024-2025 budget certification. Are there any items that board members like removed?
Item 4, please.
Item 4. Any other items? I'll remove item 2. Anything else? Can I get a motion to put items 1, 3, and 5?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried for items 1, 3, and 5. Item 2, personnel appointments and adjustments. Get the recommendation here. The superintendent's recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the personnel items as listed.
So moved.
Second.
So I see on the first page, under the change of assignments, 2 positions under the family support worker. Does this round out all the hires for the family support workers by number or by building?
At the middle school level, for sure, I would have to check our applicant portal here just to see if we have any others hanging out there.
Yeah, I'm just referring to secondary. I think secondary was the added family support workers. So just the
Yes.
secondary ones.
Yes, I believe so. I will, as we're sitting here, I'll double check just to make sure.
Okay.
My understanding is that that's the last of the additions. There might be a position that's open that I'm not aware of that's posted. In terms of refilling somebody who left, I could be wrong on that. But in terms of like adding new positions, my understanding is that we feel good about the number we have now.
Okay. And there's a family support worker at each building, each secondary building, correct?
Yes, for sure. I'm trying to think if there's any split or not off the top of my head.
Because initially there was a split. This looks like a split.
Central's got their own, Carver has their own. I'm not Hoover and Bunger share.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
I don't have one posted currently.
Okay.
So, as open, so that tells me that we've filled them, or if there is one, they're probably in the process of wrapping that up or doing interviews or something.
Okay. That's the only question I had. So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carried. That brings us to item 4. And the recommendation is, the superintendent's recommendation is that the Board of Education accept the state and local fiscal recovery funds grant in the amount of $900,000 to provide safety improvements in district school buildings.
So moved.
Second.
And discussion?
Yep. So I just I know we've been working on this for a while. I noticed the 50,000. And do we have all our plans set for what we're going to do with the funding on that? Do we know?
Yeah, I've been working, Zach Kelly would have been here tonight, but he went home sick
Yep.
late this afternoon. Yes, him and Dan Huff both have been working through the process to determine which buildings need which equipment, but $50,000 for each building, and then I think there's a list here in the board document of what things they're buying, but I know they have a breakdown by each school.
Okay. And we got any idea on timeline for implementation?
They're starting it now. I mean, we're just coming out of it now. It has to be spent by the end of next school year.
Okay, so we got 15 months or so to.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
Okay. All right,
Excuse me, by December 31st, 2025.
No, I'm glad we did. I know it took a lot of effort to get that in there with the different audits and assessments. So glad to see that this coming to realization here. So
So are the 18 buildings identified?
It would be all of our buildings. 11 elementary, 4 middle, and Expo West and East.
And each building will receive the
Each-
exact same amount?
Each building was
No
given.
matter the need?
Well, yeah, it was a maximum, and each building's getting 50,000, and they've identified which projects to do at each building.
So what would we do, for example, at McKinstry?
I'm sorry, I don't have the details on that.
hopefully something.
And it looks, I'm just reading, what the potential or possibility of the money can go to. It looks like it can go to several different things, depending on the building.
Could be potential at,
Yeah, I'm just,
So the difference,
I guess I'm just suggesting that we consider the expected life of the building.
Well, yeah, if we have till December 31st, 2025, if, let's say,
It
Expo,
just-
the program
yeah.
is moved by then, do we have to still spend the money on that
yeah.
building?
Does each building have to?
Each
spend
building
that?
is a separate allocation, so if we decided, for instance, that the life expectancy of that building wasn't gonna be something we wanted to pursue, we just would not do the projects at that particular building, but we can't transfer the funds between schools.
but if it's equipment, once it's installed, if we transferred it to another building later on when we close the building perhaps?
Most of it's gonna be permanently attached, like the film that goes on the windows or something. I'm not sure how much
Okay,
it would
so
be
not
able to.
like, I'm thinking like cameras and. video
Cameras
equipment.
possibly, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something that could
So
be
we'd probably
reusable.
have to check with the grant to make sure that they'd allow us to move
We got
it.
some of the detectors in there too.
So is WCCX a separate building?
It's not considered a school, so no, it'd be just central.
Oh. Wait, so WCC is part of the central structure, so it's all one?
It's part of the central structure, but it's not considered a school, so I
That's what I
don't
mean.
believe it's eligible for the funding.
Because it's not a, you know,
It's not considered an
it
actual
doesn't have an
school.
actual high school number
Designation,
to
yeah.
it.
So I'm looking through my, Dan and Zach are the experts here. I mean, Jeff, you're doing a great job. I'm looking through my one-to-one notes with Dan Huff. Because I asked him what are some like universal things that all schools will be getting. The things that he listed to me were additional fencing for the schools that needed it, glass hardening film. So again, the thought of active shooters, like looking some of those front-facing glass windows at buildings, like hardening film, camera upgrades. That's part of that for some buildings. We're installing those duress buttons at the entrance of each school, which would be, and that was the practice. And again, I had to miss that a month ago, but there was a kind of a tabletop exercise out at the WCC about what that means when a head secretary presses a duress button. It immediately sends out this signal to all the area law enforcement that there's an emergency going on at that building. And also we're putting in some sensors into our exterior doors about whether or not they're shut or not if people are coming into those entrances. The reason we did all buildings is like it was like you could only get 50,000 per building, and we might as well just ask for every building while we're at it. So I agree that like some buildings are probably higher need, but it was limited to 50K per building. And it was just as easy to put down 18 buildings as it was 15 buildings. So, so yeah, if Dan was here, Dan is the expert at this, so he could certainly answer all those if there's any follow-up questions, he can certainly.
No, I was
This is
just
the
kind of like
information.
more interested in timeline and the other pieces there, so. But a good follow-up question on building life and.
Okay. Any more questions? So all those of approving the superintendent's recommendation state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carried. That brings us to our next agenda item. And the time and attendance system purchase. The superintendent's recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the purchase of the UKG Ready system as presented. And we have Matt O'Brien here as well, so can we get a motion to put that on the table?
So moved.
Second?
Good evening. And Anthony and Jeff are obviously very much a part of this process as well, so I'm sure between the three of us, we can answer your questions. The short version is that like most organizations, we have a time and attendance system that tracks employees' time. We actually have two systems right now, and both of them are in need of some help, to state it lightly. So one of our systems, which is what we use for time and attendance for our custodial and food service staff, is actually going to be end of life, no longer supported by the vendor next year. And then we also have a second system, which is kind of a homegrown system, which has a number of limitations, which we've also been looking at needing to replace. So with that in mind, we actually looked at a couple of different options. The tech team, as well as the business office and the human resources team, received quotes and attended some demos from both of the companies that are listed in the board document. You can kind of see the summary of the quotes that we received in the attachment. I think it's fair to say that we were impressed with both of the solutions that were presented, both of which are light years ahead of where we're at right now. Obviously, there's a clear price difference between the two, where the Kronos UKG system that was presented gave us some really aggressive pricing, which we were quite pleased to see. So that is the recommendation before you. So the total cost that you see for year one includes both the annual subscription cost, because like anything else, it's software as a service, so it's software that's running in the cloud that we pay a yearly subscription fee for, but it also includes the actual time clocks themselves to replace our aging time clocks that are currently out in our buildings, as well as implementation services.
You say your current ones are no longer being supported. Is the onboard software that in the clocks not being supported, or the cloud-based software?
So the current system that we actually run on servers here, and the clocks are proprietary to that system. So really the answer is both, because as the system is retired next year, the actual software is retired, then the clocks will be of no good, because the clocks won't communicate with other systems.
I assume these new clocks will have onboard software, or would be more?
Yeah.
They'll still have some onboard software.
Yeah, these are
component
much
too.
smarter clocks, so it's not just a matter of like badging in and badging out. They're basically like kiosks. There's a small LCD screen where staff can check basically everything they can do on the portal, which is also accessible to them, so they can see where they're at time-wise, and a lot of those functions built into the clock, so it's like a mini computer.
Is this what are we jumping into this at like a mid-vintage of this the clocks, or is it newer, or so it might end up getting phased out earlier than we planned?
Yeah, so that's actually a great question. We do worry about the lifespan. This is actually this is their newer platform. So Kronos, the company, is now known as UKG, Ultimate Kronos Group. So it's actually kind of the same vendor that our current platform is on. Just to give you an idea of lifespan, the current platform was actually purchased back in 2009. So it's definitely lasted quite some time. Now, we've obviously had some incremental upgrades in between there, but that's when the platform itself actually originated. And this is their newer platform, I think was released within the last few years, for sure. So we're definitely not mid or end of life for the new platform
So
we're moving
should have
towards.
20 usable years out of it then.
Yeah, I would think.
So this is for all classified employees?
This will be used by classified staff, as well as basically all of our hourly staff. So classified staff, as well as our custodial and food service staff.
As well as what? I'm sorry.
Custodians and food service, AFSCME union staff.
And what's the process of checking in and out?
Well, it can just be as simple as either just, badging, swipe, tap, that type of thing, in or out. Our AFSCME staff right now, our custodian and food service, there's a few nuances, like if they're stepping up to a higher level job, then there's some functions that they actually press at the clock to, like if they're subbing for a head custodian and getting a differential, then there's a few additional functions that they use. Otherwise, it's really just a matter of either swipe, or there's an app that can be used, or staff can log in through their computer as well, which again would be a matter of just logging in with their credentials and tapping a button, basically. So there's multiple options to punch. Generally, it's just as easy as just punching in or out, but as I said, sometimes there's some additional functions that staff use. Obviously, there's also functions for staff to be able to check on their current time, for supervisors to approve time, so there's quite a bit of additional administrative things, but in terms of like the day-to-day use, then it's very simple.
Can they schedule vacations?
So technically, the system can be used for that. We actually use a different system for absence management right now, which is Frontline. So that's what all of our absences are managed through right now, but this will be part of that interface. So we actually interface between, or will interface between Frontline, which is the system that we use for both absence management and also sub-management, as well as this new time system, and then ultimately our payroll system as well. So there's kind of a three-way information exchange that will happen.
And how many are there multiple clocks at each location?
So at the two high schools will have multiple clocks. Otherwise, there's actually just a single clock per building, because right now we actually only use the clocks themselves for the custodial and food service staff. So that's our plan moving forward, is to continue using that. For other classified staff that punch in or out through like the office area, we actually have little kiosks. So we have like a Chromebook with a little scanner that they can scan in and out. So that's basically option one for the classified staff. Or option two is to log in through the portal and punch in and out through the portal, which is just a website that they log into with their credentials. Those are options they have right now, and then they'll also with this have a third option of an app on the phone, which then is geofenced to actually look at the location that they're at to make sure that they're actually on site when they're punching in or out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So like, how many would be at west or east?
How many clocks?
Yeah.
So there would be two actual clocks. We would have a kiosk in the main office, and then there's these other options as well. So most other staff would actually do the actual punching in or out in the office area if they're not custodial or food service.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions for Matt? All those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. The next item on our agenda is the bid approval for East High Auditorium and Pool Replacement Project. In accordance with Section 73A and Section 26.12 of the Code of Iowa, a public hearing is required if the Board of Education, is that right? The Board of Education of a school corporation proposes to make public improvements that may exceed $100,000. Yeah, we had it, and that's what we had earlier this evening. So the superintendent's recommendation is that the Board of Education accept the recommendation from ISG and approve the bid from Service Roofing for the East High Auditorium and pool roof replacement as outlined for a total contract cost of $364,000.
So moved.
Second?
And discussion? Yes, and we have Nathan Compton from ISG if there's any questions.
Is this a 60 mil, 90 mil? You say 90?
Can you come up to the microphone, please, and make sure the green light is on? Thank you.
Yeah, we matched the exact same roof type that we did for Lowell Elementary when we did that one. I believe it's a 90 mil roof that we put on there.
What's the warranty?
30 or 35 year. I think it's 35 year with a 90 mil that we have in there.
So does that change typically? If I remember right, most of them are all 30, but they're 35 now?
It might have been 30, sorry, yes.
And what's that warranty for?
That would be for all the materials on the roof for, with that one, it'd be the EPDM material. It's basically everything but covering the installation. So That warranty would be separate for installation from the owner, or from the contractor, if that makes sense.
How much insulation are you putting in?
Installation, sorry, not
Oh.
insulation, yeah.
But there is insulation.
There is. So insulation will be an R30 amount of insulation, which equals about 5.2 inches of insulation that will go on it.
Is it tapered?
It is, I believe the structure is tapered up there, so no.
Okay.
And we're also replacing some roof drains up there as well.
Is it your experience after, I don't know, 20, 25, after a certain number of years that the seams need to be recovered?
Usually they need to be checked because the sun will start kind of pulling and need to be re-examined. It should last 20 years before you're having to look at that, though.
But then that should extend it.
That's part of the warranty then for that material.
Is that part of your service to check that or not?
That is not part of our service.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
We have any other questions? So,
I don't know if you guys, I messaged you earlier, Zach is out ill this afternoon. Okay.
Yeah.
He was here planning on answering all your questions. He felt really bad. He just couldn't make it.
Yeah.
Make it
No,
tonight.
good to see we got several bids on it too,
Yep.
so.
yeah.
That's fine. All right.
Good deal. Thank you.
So no other questions, Mr. Compton? So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
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 Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Compton. The next item on our agenda is the resolution amending revenue purpose statement to authorize expenditures from revenue received from save tax for radon testing. In accordance with Board Policy 804.07, radon mitigation, and 804.7R, radon mitigation regulation, the district will take appropriate measures to assess radon levels in attendance centers and provide for mitigation or other measures where appropriate. The district plans to begin radon testing in facilities this summer. Can I get a motion to put that on the table?
So moved.
Second?
The superintendent's recommendation is that the Board of Education approve the resolution amending the revenue purpose statement to authorize expenditures from revenue received from the State Secure and Advanced Vision for Education SAVE Fund for radon testing as presented.
So moved.
Second.
And
So who's going to execute this plan?
That would be already, us working with a contractor to do that.
Pardon?
That would be us working with a contractor to do that.
A radon mitigation contractor?
Yeah.
So, are we going to get bids on this or what?
Yeah, I don't know the details of what we're going to be doing. I know we are allowed, because this is a new requirement that the state of Iowa came out with, to have all of our schools tested. So
Yeah.
we'll have somebody come in and do the testing, and then beyond that, I'm not sure. But the legislature, when they put in this new requirement, allowed schools to use SAVE funds to pay for it, but it requires a resolution to change our revenue purpose statement.
I'm just wondering, is the testing a separate contract than the remediation?
Yeah, it's not my ballpark, sorry.
So when I walked through with Zach, when we were looking at facility stuff at the end of last year, he was bringing this up, and he said it has to like sit there a whole year or something as part of the testing. Am I thinking of something different? Like, it was it was radon testing, but he's like, they have to keep it down. We were at East talking about it, so I don't know.
You put the installation units in, they run, to mitigate it, but the testing's pretty fast. I mean, you can pretty much tell where it's in.
It's like a 4-day or a 7-day, whatever, but there's an art to testing, because if the water table's rising after a rain, it pushes the air that's where the radon is, it's in the ground. If it pushes that air up, you're gonna tend to get a higher reading
Maybe that's why he
than
was saying
normal.
it needed
So
to
I'm
be
saying is there,
over extended period of time.
you know, you don't just kind of, well, you can in your home, you just put the test out and send it in. But in this case, when there's so much at stake, there ought to be, I'm guessing, there's a protocol that has been established to do the proper testing, and then, you know, the mitigation, how do I put this? To avoid a conflict of interest, I think the testing and the mitigation ought to be separate than saying, aha.
So
you
Zach
have-
did say that the radon testing is a separate contract from mitigation.
It is?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you, Pam.
And I still have 3 dots, so I think he's still trying to reply to something, but we'll see.
Okay, because that avoids the, hey, you got radon, now I need
Right now, I need to sell you a system.
$1 million to fix it.
It's
Okay.
really not a big worry like with our new buildings anyway, right? I mean, it's not something that, I mean, not that we won't test it, but that is something that's more like old building kind of thing, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. It's the, I mean, it is to the extent that foundation is airtight,
Right.
but Iowa's actually one of the states that has the most
We-
radon.
Yeah.
Um,
When we moved here, we were required to test our house when we moved here. It was older and it was high, and they had to, for the house still to get approved, the unit had to be installed, so,
Got ya.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I have something I can
Yes,
fall in a
he
rabbit hole
said
about something.
that mitigation is only needed if our tests are over 4.0 picocuries, is that how you say that? Per
Yep.
liter of air.
Yep.
You want to repeat that again?
Is it picocuries? Or
Picocuries.
Picocuries, okay.
I was
Lau would know.
I was 7 on my house, so I had to,
Ooh. I know we
which
were up
isn't
there.
unusual.
Yeah.
But then the whole remediation plan becomes, that can get kind of expensive.
Okay. Any other
Hopefully-
Is
questions?
it just a matter of like going and filling foundation issues? Is that,
Well, often they put a suction fan
okay.
in to draw the air from beneath the foundation prior to it being able to seep up through the foundation
Got ya.
itself.
Yeah, that's what ours is. We have a fan in our garage, and it's hooked into the flooring in our house,
But
in the
then that
basement. and it
fan
doesn't
has to
leak.
be maintained forever, you know?
Yeah, I think we've had a fan go out once or twice in 20-plus years, you know. So,
So now I'll read the resolution, and then this requires a roll call vote. So whereas the school district receives revenue from the state of Iowa, secure an advanced vision for education fund save revenue pursuant to Iowa Code Section 423F.2 as amended, and whereas the voters of the school district approved a revenue purpose statement at the March 3rd, 2020 election, and whereas the school district's revenue purpose statement authorizes the use of saved revenue for multiple purposes, including to provide funds for other authorized expenditures and purposes as now or hereafter permitted by law and designated by the school district, and whereas in 2022, the General Assembly enacted House File 2412, an act requiring radon testing and mitigation in public schools as required by Iowa Code Section 280.32, and whereas pursuant to HF 2412, the General Assembly amended Iowa Code Section 423F.3(3)A to provide that boards of directors may adopt a resolution to use saved revenue to pay for radon testing and may approve a revenue purpose statement for that purpose without submitting the revenue purpose statement to a vote of the electors, and Whereas the school district wishes to amend its revenue purpose statement that includes all proposed uses of saved revenue to provide for the use of saved revenue to pay for radon testing mandated pursuant to Iowa Code Section 280.32. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Waterloo Community School District in the County of Black Hawk, State of Iowa, Section 1 of the board, that the board hereby authorizes spending saved revenue to pay for radon testing mandated pursuant to Iowa Code Section 280.32, and in doing so, hereby approves the following amendment to its revenue purpose statement. Section 2 of the school district's revenue purpose statement, as approved by the voters at an election held on March 3rd, 2020, be amended to provide that, in addition to all previously authorized purposes, revenue received by the school district from the state of Iowa, secure and advanced vision for education fund may be spent to provide funds for radon testing required pursuant to Iowa Code Section 280.32, passed and approved this April 8th of 2024. And this requires a roll call vote. Director Mills?
Aye.
Director Knight?
Aye.
Director Schmidt?
Aye.
Director Matlock?
Aye.
Director Cox?
Aye.
Chair, Director Williams? Aye. Motion carried. That was a lot.
You
You want to do that again?
did a good job.
I don't think I could.
You did a good job writing that.
Right. I can't take credit for that. So that ends our agenda items for the evening. And now on to the superintendent's report.
Yep, got 3 updates here. They're all kind of exciting updates. Lowell Elementary was here last time. Remember they presented on Leader and Me? The very next day, they found out that they were approved as Lighthouse School. So that's like a high status. You have to meet a lot of requirements, pass, judges come in, I think they like fly in or drive in from somewhere, and they deem whether or not your building is worthy of reaching that status. So very exciting for them. The board, I know we've reminded you a few times, but this Thursday morning at 8 a.m., breakfast out at, the WCC. I'm super excited. They have lined up roughly 15 students to do kind of a roundtable discussion about their experience at the WCC. I've asked them I've asked Amy, Whitney, and that crew to find a diverse group of students from East-West Expo to kind of share their experiences about how the WCC's made an impact on them. So I'm super excited for you to hear some of those stories. Last but not least, shortly before this meeting tonight, we announced 3 new hires, administrative level hires, in the district, and I'm just going to read those off real quick. The new principal at Lincoln Elementary will be Ryan Christopher. The new principal at Kittrell Elementary will be Cassandra Hart. And the new associate director of special ed will be Sunny Hart. No relation that I'm aware of to Cassandra. So super excited. Of course, all those 3 people are internal, which means we will have to post their old positions. But all 3 individuals, when we called them on Friday, were very excited, humbled, thrilled about the new positions. So those are out there now, so it's official.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Tonight, we'll start with Director Matlock.
Thank you very much. I missed the last board meeting, so this is kind of old news, but I want to thank Cunningham School for allowing me to come in and give a tour. Principal Neldrika Whitaker was awesome. She looks like she has a she's doing a great job over there, and met a lot of the staff and saw a lot of students interacting, so I was really excited about that. And I also want to thank Tiffany over at Irving for understanding me postponing my last session because my husband was ill. And I'm looking forward to going to see them sometime in May. And, you know, I'm just excited about the next things we have coming up. Yep, I got my assignment for graduation, and we still got our onboarding and things going on. And so breakfast and these different things coming up, and I'm just really excited about what's next with the Waterloo School Board. I want to thank all of you for your prayers as my husband was ill, and he's going back to work tomorrow. So I'm really excited about that. So thank you for all your thoughts and prayers.
That's good to hear. Yep, good to hear, good to hear. Director Cox?
Well, definitely, I can say just definitely echo what Crystal mentioned about being excited about some of the things coming up. When I went to the women's leadership thing there at Becker, and I really, really, really enjoyed myself. Just seeing the kids, talking with the kids. You know, we definitely need more of that had the interaction of the community and, you know, teachers involved, and the kids were just so excited. They also had some UNI volleyball players there. That which was definitely exciting. So, you know, just looking forward to what's coming up and excited, and going to keep it short today.
Thank you, Director Cox. Director Mills?
So the Equity Committee met on Monday, and we met at Irving. I love that Gina is taking us all around district buildings for each meeting. So we've been to 4, I think, elementary schools, and we meet in their library. So it was great. So at that one, then, obviously, she's been having each principal come out and talk about things in their building. So Zach was able to do a rundown of the flex rooms and talk about it through an equity lens, as far as helping the students that are the most in need, to make sure that their needs are being met, but also what a major referral should look like, which I think was really appreciated, and within the Equity Committee, to be able to understand the difference and how behaviors can be managed without a major referral. So that was cool. The action teams all reported on their work. I'm on the community action team, so having fun with that. And that's about, well, yeah, that's about all that's going on at my house. My husband still has a broken leg, so that's what I'm doing.
Thank you, Director Mills. Director Knight?
Yeah, pretty short tonight, but I did want to just mention appreciation to some of the staff we have. You know, a lot of times you may see what they're doing during the day, but I mean, there's a number of staff that, you know, they are, you know, it's weekends, it's evenings, you know, they get a call and help, you know, resolve issues, you know, and, you know, sometimes it's small, but sometimes it just needs those extra bodies, and some of the staff in the building, if you're in the building, you need something, and, you know, they're busy, but they'll take time away, you know, in the evenings or something to help, you know, get you what you need, or help get you access, where do you need to go, or, so, but there's one, I know, one this weekend, and I really appreciate that employee taking the time to help some staff out on a trip, so, and get their issue resolved, so.
Thank you, Director Knight. Director Schmidt?
Yeah, just a couple of things. Appreciate the people that came and shared their comments. Again, there was only a couple tonight, but everyone's welcome. Number 2, I don't know, did we have classes watch the eclipse at all? Hopefully we did. It's pretty simple. Yeah?
900 kids out on the football field. It was fabulous.
Perfect.
I think Lowell did too, because I saw Carrie by in
You know, it's really simple, but it's really impressive, you know. So, anyway, I watched it, I wasn't sure, I'll see the next one, so. And then the attendance meeting in particular, I thought was good. Looking forward to, I think we were at ongoing pace of 30.3 or something like that. So any updates as they come in on that would be appreciated to see if we're above or below that or kind of staying on that track versus 38 last year. I saw the national statistics, 60%. Chronic baptism.
Wow.
Nationally. So, comparatively speaking, we're okay, but we're not okay, so.
Can I throw one more thing in? I forgot. I just want to thank everybody who's been sending emails and letters and everything and communicating. I just want you to know that we read all of it and we take it all in. So I appreciate it and keep us in the loop.
Thank you, Director Schmidt. I just have a few things. One, Amber, thank you for the invite to the Women's Leadership event. Truly enjoyed myself, as I stated earlier. Keep up the great work. Thanks to Dick Herbin and all the volunteers of the robotics teams. Each year, seems like it may be twice or three times a year that they're coming back, just talking about all the good things that they do and all the awards that they're winning. So, and then those students are so engaged, and I love when students are able to find their passion. You know, a lot of organizations or activities get overlooked sometimes. We're heavy on sports and maybe music, but things like that we have that are gyms in our district, along with JROTC and things like that. And the students gravitate to those and they seem to enjoy themselves. Our next board meeting will be in this room on April 22nd at 5 p.m. We do have a work session entitled Academics Student Achievement on April 23rd at 5 p.m. in this room as well. Graduation dates are out. Just a reminder for those. West High is Tuesday, May 21st, 6 p.m. at the McLeod Center. East is Wednesday, May 22nd, 6 p.m. at the McLeod Center. Expo is Thursday, May 23rd, 6 p.m. At Expo Alternative Learning Center. And I do want to mention this. The Waterloo Schools Foundation Sparking Academic Excellence Breakfast is on April 25th at the Waterloo the Waterloo Convention Center, excuse me. I've had an opportunity to sit in on the last few meetings of the Waterloo Schools Foundation, and they're doing some wonderful things as well, and we thank them for their partnership. That's all I have this evening. Anything else from any board members? All right. With none, seeing none, can I get a motion to close, to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
That wasn't fast. All those, right, it's a basketball game we got to get to. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Chair votes aye, motion carried, we're adjourned. Thank you all.